You guys can't hear me. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Juniority TV. My name is Mona, and today I am beyond excited for my guest today. His name is Adom Appiah. He is an incredible young man. I was actually preparing for this interview today, and I was like super excited. It was really building up for me. And I'm really excited to get to know him. I have already done so, but in person and just get to know him and a lot of the stuff that he's done. He's such an inspiring young man, and I'm super excited for you guys to get to know him. So without further ado, let's go ahead and meet Adom. Hi.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Adom. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm super excited. Today, my schedule was busy, and like I told you, just getting ready for the stream was a little bit crazy. But I'm super excited that you rescheduled with me a little bit later, and I'm so glad that you're here because I'm super excited to interview you and find out more about you. So, without further ado, how is your day so far?
My day is going pretty well, having the day off
Gotcha.
gives me time to prepare for, I have the PSAT. I'm in my junior year, so
That's
I've been
right.
studying here and there. And so it's been a pretty productive day. How about you?
Pretty good. It was a little bit crazy, but as I was researching about you and your mom sent me this like hilarious podcast you guys did together, and I was listening to that, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I just cannot wait to talk to Adom. So yeah, it's been great. A little bit, tight, but I'm glad that we're here finally to chat about you. So, tell me a little bit about yourself and Ball4Good.
Yes. So, Ball4Good, for those of you who don't know, it's a nonprofit organization. I started it in the seventh grade without the intent to really have a nonprofit organization. It was a school project where we dedicated 20% of our class time to something that benefited the community in one way or another. And while brainstorming with my family and my teacher, I decided to combine my passion for sports with the general goal of helping others. And Ball4Good was created. We had our first celebrity basketball game with local celebrities playing basketball against each other and just having a great time. We had some media coverage, and uh, with all things just being played out and the blessings that we had given to us, we
Yeah.
were able to eventually receive a grant from Spartanburg County Foundation, where my mentor, Miss Mary Thomas, is the chief operating officer. And with that, we were able to kind of launch into nonprofit mode. And since then, it's the rest is history. I mean, we've been able to help so many organizations raise much more money than I would have ever imagined, and we've had multiple celebrity basketball games. All of them have been huge successes, and with time, we've adapted. Obviously, with the pandemic, we've had new and innovative ways to create revenue and just be able to help the community in whatever way we can as a nonprofit.
Gotcha. Very cool. It's such a phenomenal, and tell the audience the story about Miss Kelsey Turner and how this project turned into like it cycled from, a small class project into what it is today, and I thought that was brilliant. Tell the audience a little bit about that.
Yes, a big shout out to my seventh and eighth grade history teacher, Miss Kelsey Turner. She's the best, and she presented us with this project where we walked into class and we had to basically dedicate one class period a week, 20% of our time essentially, because we have the class 5 days a week,
Gotcha.
and we used that to benefit the community in one way or another. And so in this project, not only did we learn the ins and outs of giving to the community, but we also learned public speaking. We learned the importance of an elevator pitch, and it just kind of kickstarted our way into beginning something in the professional world at such a young age. And so that was just exciting to me. And so being able to take that to the next level with mentors like Miss Mary Thomas, Mr. Billy Webster, they've just kind of launched me into this idea of giving back to the community in every way that I know how, and always being a sponge for information, learning more and more. And so without the kind of insight of Miss Kelsey Turner and launching that program, none of this would be possible.
Well, shout out to Miss Kelsey Turner. That's really cool. Um, so I would love to know how you took a class project and was able to successfully execute celebrity basketball game. And you raised a ton of money at these events, which is incredible. So, kind of walk me through the process of like, where did you even start and how did you get there?
Sure. Well, our process has really adapted throughout the years.
Yeah.
Our first year, it was kind of take things as they come and figure out what we're doing exactly. It started out with me collecting funds that I got for my birthday. Instead of people giving me money for my birthday, they gave me money for this kind of project that I was launching into. I wasn't really sure what I was doing yet, but I wanted to have some kind of solid foundation before I went and asked Ms. Mary Thomas to be my mentor. And so when I went, already had raised a certain amount of money. I don't remember how much, but it was nothing compared to how much we ended up raising. And with her expertise and her connections to the Spartanburg County Foundation and the investment in my family and the community as a whole, we're able to eventually grow, reach out to more and more players. And then that first year we had that game, and our big headliner, Zion Williamson, was a huge, huge attraction for media outlets, and it just put Ball4Good in the spotlight instantly before I could even realize what we'd have been able to accomplish. And so that was really inspiring. And so over the years, we've adapted our process to grow as things do over time. And we've now established a grants committee that is comprised of youth from the area. And what we do is the Spartanburg County Foundation teaches us how to review grants each year. And then we do a request for proposals, and nonprofit organizations send us their requests, their grants, and ask for certain amounts of money. And we review those grants, evaluate them, and we decide a top four as a committee. And then to kind of involve the community as a whole, we send a survey out to each of our schools, and we determine the number one recipient or the grand prize winner and the three finalists through that process. And so it's kind of expedited the process and made it more streamlined. And as the years go by, it's kind of more puzzle piece and kind of fits together than on the fly how it was the first year.
Yeah.
We're really glad we're able to kind of adapt and evolve as an organization.
That's incredible. But I do, so a couple of things I want to know. How many people work in your organization?
Um, it's really not a set number because
Okay.
they're constantly growing. People reach out to us on Instagram all the time saying, "How can I help? What can I do?" And they may not even be based in the same city as me or even the same country as me. And
Cool.
so it's really just an ever growing amount of volunteers or helpers or members of our team.
Yeah, and I'm sure being a nonprofit, that number probably always changes, anyways. Okay, makes
Yeah.
sense. How did you get Zion Williams to be a part of this?
Well,
I
Zion
want to know the
was
story of that.
yes. So I actually attended high school with Zion Williamson, and he's
Ah,
a friend
very
of
cool.
mine. I worked out with him and his stepdad, and they kind of helped me build my confidence as a player. But building my confidence as a person was a whole different thing, and I had to think about how I was going to approach him to ask him to kind of help me with this project. And he was more than happy to do so. He was super excited to play in the celebrity game, and I will never forget his reaction and just his willingness to take a part in such a wonderful endeavor. And it was just wonderful to
Yeah.
have him there and have his energy. And the second year he couldn't play because he was injured at the time because of the McDonald's All-American game, but he still came. He was a celebrity coach and he brought all this energy still. It was just amazing to have his participation, and we owe so much to him as an organization.
Very cool. Well, that's really awesome. So shout out to Zion Williams and Miss Mary Thomas. Very cool. So I didn't get a chance. I usually try to at least read, my guest book, but I didn't get a chance to read your book. However, I want us to talk about it. So tell me about the three books that you wrote, and then I have a few questions for you, but go ahead.
All right. Sure. Well, my first book, Kids Can Change the World, it it wasn't intended to be a book. None of my books really were. They were just kind of me writing down my ideas, and eventually some words turn into a page, and a page turns into a chapter. And before I know it, I have these kind of things laid out, and I decided to publish it. But Kids Can Change the World is a compilation of just stories and inspiring stories, and 12 steps for a young person to make a difference in their community. It's kind of simply lays it out using my own experience with Ball4Good. And some people may not know, I went to the National Spelling Bee. And so my experience learning and studying for that, dealing with that, it's just an inspiring story. It's got rave reviews on Amazon. And moving forward from Kids Can Change the World, I wrote a second book called Bouncing Back from Failure.
Mm-hmm.
It discussed other inspiring stories of people who came from failure, crucible experiences, and kind of turned those negatives into positives, learn to grow from their negative experiences, and essentially bounce back, as it says in the title. And that was kind of deprived from, or it took from my experience in the second National Spelling Bee that I took part in, where I didn't get as far as I wanted to, and I was a little bummed out, but I was able to retain all these things from my experience, and I realized that I gained so much more than I would have lost. And I just apply that mentality to almost everything I do now. And so that book is really a testament to how I've grown as a leader of a nonprofit, and just a student, a person. And so I decided that that book was something that the world needed, and I was happy to put it out. It's also gotten great reviews. Teachers love the book. I mean, it's amazing. I wouldn't have ever expected it. In my third book, it kind of touches to younger audiences. It's a rendition of my first book, Kids Can Change the World, but it's the young readers edition. And so it has some simplified illustrations that we had someone very talented do. I personally am not an excellent artist myself. I just had raw ideas of how these would play out in our Illustrator. I did the magic. And I simplified the ideas of each and every step of Kids Can Change the World, and made that into a young reader's book. And that's gotten a great reception. Children have loved the book, and I'm just so glad that I've been able to touch on so many different ages for inspiration and just teaching people lessons of motivation and making a difference.
Very cool. That's really awesome. I do want to mention a few things that I think is really, really incredible. Schools have actually bought your books as part of their curriculum. Is that correct?
Yes, I was surprised that some schools decided that their required reading for their students would be my books.
That's fantastic. I love that. And then also, I noticed that 50% of your first book, Kids Can Change the World, goes to nonprofits that serve children.
Yes, we're always looking to make a difference in our community and want to have the maximum impact that we can. So we're always looking to use whatever tools we have to impact communities.
That's really awesome. That's really, really fantastic. Going back to, I was listening to your mom's podcast. She's hilarious, by the way. I love her. She talks about this story in your second book, and I think you were at the spelling bee, and then you came out disappointed, and then there was this other kid that was disappointed. I really want to read this. That was disappointed, and you were making him feel better. Tell me about that experience, and why you decided to add it in the book. I mean, it's an amazing story, but go ahead and tell us the story.
Well, I figured that there was no use being so visibly sad all the time, just feeling bad for myself. And I realized that other people were experiencing some of the same regret that I was feeling, and I was feeling sorry and sad. And so I realized that those people could see somebody who could lift them up and encourage them. So I saw other kids who were younger than me upset that they had gotten out in the bee, and I was just encouraging them, telling them that they have more opportunities in the future and that they can always come back, and this failure is not the end. And even if they had aged out, they had gained so much from this experience. They had gained friendships, they had gained so much knowledge. And so there's really so many positives to it that simply getting out is not enough to weigh you down.
Very cool. And another thing that, obviously the reasons why you wrote Bouncing Back and how you try to use that mentality you said earlier. One of the things that I always like, I perceive certain things as like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing that ever happened to me. And then, like, a year later or even months later, you look back and you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Actually, that was like a really good thing because then it put me in this other situation that, like this is the reason why I'm here. So whenever bad things happen, I'm always like, I'm going to perceive this down the road as something really awesome that happened to me. So it's like, how can I get in that headspace right now? Instead of looking at it as a bad thing, how can I see it as a really, really awesome thing? And maybe it's an opportunity for me to look elsewhere, right? So
Sure.
I love that you wrote that book, and I'm really interested to read it for sure. Um, that's really cool. And, being part of school's curriculum, that says a lot. So congratulations on that. That's really awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So going back to you talked about Spartanburg County Foundation. They clearly have played a huge role in you along with your mentor getting your foundation up and running. And you mentioned also that they taught you how to review grants and approve grants, which is really, really amazing. Um, are you still working with them? And what would you say about community resources that are available to what young people or older people that want to use them as resources? Because clearly you have used that resource and come a long way. So I'm curious what you have to say about that.
Yes, yes. I'm still in close contact with everyone at the foundation. They are instrumental in everything Ball4Good. We appreciate them, and them as a community resource is something that is truly vital to Spartanburg County and really beyond, because they have kind of an outreach through their connections, through their partnerships, through Ball4Good, through several nonprofits that are bigger than Ball4Good, through certain names that they're able to reach. I think that a community organization such as the County Foundation is vital in kind of encouraging people to make a difference in their community, be involved in their community, and feel like they're a part of their community. The Spartanburg County Foundation does an excellent job of incorporating youth. They have recently built a Center for Philanthropy, which is going to be displayed soon and kind of launched soon. And I had the privilege of having an exclusive tour of that facility, and it was beautiful. I mean, I can already imagine youth being there and just bouncing ideas off one another and really being the future, being the change. And so if more and more communities could kind of look at the Spartanburg County Foundation, what they're able to accomplish, how they're able to tap into the community, understand what they need, respond accordingly, and take time to reflect, I think that communities overall will just benefit greatly and be holistically just greatly impacted, and people will just be a lot more positive and a lot more excited to be a part of their community.
That's fantastic. That's really cool. That's awesome. Um, Also, talking about mentorship, I heard on the podcast you talked about Miss Mary Miss Mary Thomas, um, and how you did chores for mentorship. Tell me about that and why, because I know you said mentorship is really important. Why do you think it's important?
I think mentorship is really important because there's always going to be someone out there who knows more than you, especially as a young person. Going to her at the age of 13, I had little to no experience with the nonprofit world. Everything I'd known, I had seen from my family, and my mom is very involved in the nonprofit world, but there were a lot of things that were kind of adult in the sense that I'd never kind of thought of. All these things that you had to consider as far as reaching out to people, certain ways to conduct yourself in a meeting. And so all these things are behind the scenes and you don't realize that, and you only see what's on the surface. And so going to someone like Miss Thomas helped me break it down and understand what I needed to do in order to grow Ball4Good, in order to have a certain community outreach, and having a resource such as the foundation through her really helped me grow as a person just altogether. And so I talk about it in my books, the importance of finding a mentor, because a mentor is someone who can continue to guide you. They can be a friend to you. They can just be an ally to you and help you understand how to achieve a certain aspect of yourself that you don't quite understand how to reach.
Wow, very well said. That's really awesome. Um, Going back, you mentioned earlier, uh, you know, uh, community resources and community resources responding to the youth. One of the things that you said was when you were doing cold calls, how you were surprised by, you said, decision makers responding to kids. I always wonder in this community, because there's a lot of young people that are doing incredible things, what that, and I've heard like a spectrum of like, oh yeah, they take us seriously and they don't take us seriously. It's more of a like, oh, this kid is so cute, like look at this cute thing that this kid is doing. But it's like it's beyond cute. You guys are really, really, really making a difference in the community. And like sometimes when I think about what it will look like when you all come together and exchange ideas and implement it, like, oh my goodness. And I know like in the community it happens in small scales, but I would love to see that in a larger scale, because if you look at every category, whether it's homelessness, feeding the homeless, there's Chloe Cares, there's the Jaquil Jackson, which I know you know.
Yeah.
In the environment, there's Ryan, and there's a bunch of other kids that I can't think of. But like in every category of, whether it's the community or globally, that needs to, like, we need to make a difference. You guys are in it all. So tell me what your experience was like. Obviously, you got you were surprised by the response that you got, but I'm curious throughout your experience what that has been like, and have you had challenges with being taken seriously?
There have certainly been challenges. I know just from a cold call standpoint, regardless of my age, I've always been shy, just a shy person. And so getting out of my shell, getting able to communicate with people, tell people what I want, and realize that they're not just going to know just if I look at them a certain way that I want a certain thing. I have to communicate that through words. I've kind of learned to grow and understand how to approach people.
Yeah.
And difficult comes with age, people taking you seriously. When you're a younger organization or you're a bit inexperienced, you may need to use some connections that you may have, or a mentor, for instance, to reach the community, because I've definitely seen some mixed responses. People who have been kind of invested in what I'm doing. They love what I'm doing, but they don't quite take it seriously the way that they would take another organization seriously, simply because I'm either a kid or they know me personally. And so I don't take that personally. I don't take that to heart. Like, I know they don't have any ill intent. I just try to prove to people that I am serious about what I'm doing, and we have a team that is also serious about what they're doing. And so over the years, that's kind of died down a little bit. People have taken Ball4Good more and more seriously. We've kind of established ourselves in our community. And I'm sure that if we were to, for some reason, relocate or something like that, there would be more challenges in establishing ourselves as a youth-led organization. But overall, if someone is trying to embark on a journey, whatever it may be, and they're afraid of being categorized based on their age or not taken seriously, I just say go head first, because there's only upward to go. I mean, you can only move upward. You've got to start somewhere, and there are going to be people who don't take you seriously, and that can just be your motivation to work even harder and try your best to make a difference in whatever way you know how.
That's fantastic. I love it. I'm glad you persevered, because you've done incredible good for your community. So thank you for withstanding that. And I hope that's going to change as more and more people realize the power of the impact that you guys are making. Um, Shifting gears, so you started with Ball4Good, and then COVID happened, and then you did Music for Good and raised almost $14,000, which is incredibly impressive. Tell me what made you shift gears, and are you going to continue to do that?
Yes. So Music for Good is kind of an idea that it was never quite something that was thoroughly planned out because uh, COVID threw us for a loop with quarantine and everything. And so, understanding what we had to do in the future, we just kind of brainstormed and figured out different things. And I had recently gotten into DJing. I DJ'd my school's homecoming, and I figured that I saw people like DJ D Nice and other people throwing Instagram parties that I guess through different social medias I could also do the same. And we did it once, and the response was incredibly positive. And as financially and just through support, it was just amazing. And we decided why not do it again and again and again. And so we decided to do it for almost 2 months really. And we had my friend Joshua, who's known by the name JJ Black. He was dancing. He dances on Instagram and YouTube, and he's extremely talented. We had a special guest on our first show, Son of Ice, a local dancer. And we just had different people involved in giving messages through this Music for Good. It was just people enjoying themselves and being able to contribute to the community while still having a good time in the same spirit of Ball4Good. So it was something that was not necessarily planned, but it ended up being like it was planned. It was really beautiful how it turned out, and I think we'll look to do something like that in the future, just because of how convenient it was and how the response was. We really loved doing it, and so doing it in the future would definitely be something that could benefit a lot of people.
And speaking of Music for Good, is your GoFundMe page, obviously it's still going, yeah?
Yes, yes. Our
Okay,
GoFundMe
so
doors.
I'm gonna put
Different
a
ways.
picture up. Go ahead.
Yeah, we always have different ways to donate. Even if GoFundMe isn't active, we have our Ball4Good website. We obviously have different ways to contribute.
Um, Adom, you still there?
Yes, I'm still
Okay,
here.
cool. Say that last part because I think I lost you there.
Okay. So if you have any questions about how to reach your community, how to donate to us, you can email us at info@ball4good.org, or you can visit our website, www.ball4good.org, and we will get back to you and we can sort that out and we can figure out how we can get your mission across.
Fantastic. I love that. And I also want to say if you guys want to search Ball4Good GoFundMe page, obviously your GoFundMe is still live. So go ahead and donate to Adom's cause and support this young man because obviously you're doing incredible things. Um, so, leadership, it's such an important role and very key in you successfully establishing your nonprofit organization. You were the junior class president, or are you still junior class president? You are. Okay, so talk to me about some of the leadership roles that you've learned as a junior class president. You're in the Student Government Association at your school. Tell me what you've learned and what would you say are the key ingredients that a leader needs to successfully lead his community or her community?
Sure. Well, I've always been involved in leadership. It's always been a passion of mine. Even since middle school, I was involved in whatever middle school government we had going on. Uh, Freshman, sophomore year, I was involved in Student Government Association. And so leadership has just been something that I've always been a part of. And as I've grown as a leader, I've understood certain things that are important. And so if you observe like the way I conduct myself in a certain setting, it would be kind of changing over time. Because initially, as a leader, I would think that all I had to do was talk and give all my ideas out. But I realized that as I've grown more and more quiet in meetings, just understanding that everybody has something to offer, and the importance of listening to everybody's ideas, so that we can get a collective idea, get something going. And so, as the class president, I'm willing to listen to all of my classmates, listen to the vice president, the secretary, and the other grades, see the response that they give before I kind of chip in and give my piece, say my piece as that leadership position. And I've learned that through leadership, we can really get a lot done as long as we're considering everybody and considering that not everybody's going to have the same point of view. And so if we try to uh, kind of touch on everybody's ideas, we're not going to get everything done. So we need to understand how to collectively come together and achieve a goal. And so with being junior class president, it's definitely been different this year being online, but I'm working my best to kind of establish my role and help us in whatever we need to do as a junior class to make it the best year we possibly can.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. And definitely listening is important. Definitely something I can do better at. So that's really cool that you learned that and that you're implementing it. Awesome. So I don't have the time to go through all of the awards that you have received. It's absolutely incredible. You are amazing. But let's talk about two awards that you've recently received. Tell me about the Point of Light Award.
Well,
Or
Points of Light was a huge honor. I was so much came with that. It kind of caught me off guard and realized they were paying attention to me. And so seeing an organization of such a grand size and just a grand influence, really, it was amazing to see them recognize me. And I'm so appreciative to Points of Light. And they actually approached me to be on their youth council. And I've been a part of that. And we've had a youth summit with incredibly powerful people. And it's just been amazing witnessing the influence that Points of Light has on people really internationally with giving them inspiration, giving them reasons to look up to other people. And they just provide so much. And I'm so grateful to Points of Light for honoring me and keeping in touch with me.
very cool. And if you guys want to check out Adom's Point of Light, it's number 6628, right? It's day 6628? Yes, pretty
I
sure.
think
I
so.
looked that
I
up.
may not be right, but I think so. I think so.
So if you do Points of Light 6628 Adom, and how do you say your last name, by the way? I hope I didn't mess it up.
Appiah,
Appiah.
Appiah.
Okay,
Yeah, you
great.
got it right.
So yeah, I did Points of Light 6628 Adom Appiah, and I was able to find it. So that's really cool. Tell me also about the International Philanthropist of the Year from AFP Global.
Wow. I mean, I couldn't even comprehend the words that they presented that award as, like International Philanthropist of the Year. I just thought youth philanthropist. It was just amazing to me that I was able to be honored in such a grand and incredible way. I was so glad that AFP was able to witness what I was doing. I'm so appreciative of them and all the work that they do. And it would have been really cool to receive that award, but things come in the way with COVID-19 and everything. But it's amazing to be honored on such a high level. Uh, I don't know if I ever received an international award before that, so that was really cool.
And that is AFP Global is the Association of Fundraising Professionals. And I want to say a few things about the award. So it's the 2020 William R. Sims Award for Outstanding Youth in Philanthropy Individual presented by Carter. The William R. Sims Award for Outstanding Youth in Philanthropy presented by Carter honors young people with a proven record of exceptional generosity who demonstrate outstanding civic and charitable responsibility, and whose philanthropy encourages others to engage on a community, national, or international level. The award will be presented, this is date, but this is essentially the award that you were given. I know COVID, but congratulations. That's really, really, really awesome.
Thank you.
On the flip side, awards are incredible, and obviously they, promote you, put you on the spotlight, recognize your work, which, is very important. But I also love your humility, because one of the things that you said is if people didn't recognize my work and I still had the same impact, I would continue it, because I think that the impact is what's really important, and the awards are a nice bonus, and I appreciate them much, but I know that I don't need them. One thing that I want to talk about is, aside from not being able to taken seriously, sometimes when you're doing a lot of good out there, you do not get as recognized for it. Obviously, you have been, which is great, but I've talked to some young people where, the recognition on social media and things like that isn't there. And I love that you said that, for what you are doing and what you have done. Your social media should be blowing up, and it will get there. I know that's not what's driving you, but tell me a little bit about, what you said, because that is so incredibly amazing.
Yes. So awards have been something that have always been a nice bonus, a nice thing that's kind of added to the list of things. But really what's important to me is what we're able to accomplish as an organization. I mean, the awards don't come without us accomplishing anything, but that's not really why we're working towards it. We're working towards the impact that we have for just that, the impact that we have. We're able to create just this idea for so many people in the community and beyond our community of hope and of unity through sports, through the simple idea of helping communities through sports, which is our mission statement as Ball4Good. And getting all these awards and everything is really nice, and I appreciate all the recognition that people give to me, but it's not what's driving me. If the awards stopped coming, I would still be around doing my work, because I know that it's had an impact on so many lives, making a difference in the lives of so many. And I would just continue to do it because it's really just purposeful stuff. And sometimes recognition isn't going to come on social media all the time. And I don't think that should be what evaluates what you're doing, because if you're truly making an impact and you see those faces light up, even if it's just a few people who you're able to help, or whatever your goal is to help, even if it's small, it's still some kind of impact. And if you keep doing that, keep that passion, keep that purpose behind what you're doing, in no time, it'll be something that's getting recognized. And even if it's not getting recognized, you know that you're doing something that's truly important to the world.
Yeah. Very good. As you're saying that, I feel like I remember like watching a video, and I think it was Oprah, where she said, "Would you be doing what you're doing if nobody was noticing?" And I think that's really important, because if the notoriety is what's driving it, then you're gonna get discouraged. But clearly, you have a purpose and a mission. I want to know, in one word, what drives you. Like, what would you summarize it as, or in one sentence?
Well, one sentence.
I was like,
Let's
one
see.
word is really tough. It's
Yeah.
like, put your mission in this one word.
Let's see. Well, I'd say purpose. Purpose is something that embodies so much, and I believe that through the purpose of our organization, through my personal purpose, we're able to really inspire others and provide this kind of service through what we do. It can be a financial service. It can be a labor service, whatever it needs to be. Ball4Good is doing its best to be there for whatever community needs it.
Very good. Very good. So to date, you have raised about $70,000 which has gone towards about 16 local nonprofit organizations. You have helped Boys and Girls Club, the Children Advocacy Center, Miracle Mile Ministries, Brothers Restoring Urban Hope, Cancer Association of Spartanburg, Project Hope Foundation. And clearly you have not stopped even with COVID. What is next for Adom? Because I'm really excited to see where you're going next.
I'm always looking to grow and looking to kind of see what's next on the agenda. Recently, we just wrapped up a Twitch streaming video game kind of thing, and we're looking to do more of that in the future. Kind of raising money through different online things since we have to adapt. But I'm going to have a meeting with our grants committee to kind of get a poll of how everybody's feeling with Ball4Good and kind of understand how we can continue to involve our community, because that's really important to us, making sure that the community doesn't feel disconnected from what we're doing just because of this digital divide and social distancing and everything like that. We want the community to still feel like they're a part of Ball4Good and they are able to continue to make an impact through this organization. So it's in the works. Nothing official yet, but you'll hear of it for sure.
You're like, nothing stops me. Not even COVID. I love it. That's great. Let me ask you this. I'm curious. Obviously the younger people going online helps, but how do you reach the people that do not have, the tech savviness, or maybe older people that may not be on social media as much? How do you still safely manage to reach your communities?
Sure. Well, with COVID, we've definitely kind of used a lot of digital things. We have a newsletter that goes out to the emails of our donor list and everything. And we try to stay in touch with our supporters and everything. I know that it's going to be more difficult to reach people who aren't going to be online all the time, but we have our blog and our website. So not everything's going to be Instagram, not everything's going to be so 21st century and all that. I mean, we have different ways of reaching our audiences, and we're working to kind of make sure that everybody feels involved.
Very cool. Well, Adom, thank you so much for being here. I do want you to plug your social media one more time, because I want people to follow you and support you.
Yes, our organization is on Twitter at Ball4Good and on Instagram at WeBall4Good. And my social media everywhere is I am Adom Appiah.
Fantastic. Well, Adom, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for adjusting the time. I truly, incredibly appreciate you, and I had such a great time. I'm super excited to see how far you're going to take Ball4Good, music for good, or any good that you're doing. So please, stay in touch and let us know everything that you're up to, and I'd love to support you for sure.
Cool.
But thank you for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, guys, that was our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Adom is an incredibly, gifted young man, talented. He has a heart of gold. He obviously stands for a purpose of making a huge impact in his community. So please support this young man and everything that he's doing. I hope to see you next time on our social media. Please go follow Adom as well. You can find us at Juniority TV, and we'll see you next time.